Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here doing my spoiler discussion for the Power Rangers movie. If you guys don't want any spoilers, I already did a spoiler-free review, so you guys can just check the link in the description, save yourself from all things story, and check out the movie, and if you're interested, you can just come back here. But getting right into the spoilers, this is your official warning. I actually want to talk about the mid-credit sequence that takes place in the middle of the credits. I thought it was cool. I like the fact that they referenced Tommy Oliver. I do hope we get a sequel. This is the type of movie where I enjoyed it enough, and there were a lot of issues with it, but I was like, man, with this being the first movie, all the stuff I enjoyed, just like triple that maybe for the sequel, and everything will be good, because the biggest issue I had was a lot of the extra drama stuff, and also we don't see the Rangers until like the last 30 minutes, so Rangers, whole movie, they need to do like they did in the TV show, where they have like the mini battle, and then it's like, alright, they transform, they morph. And so they morph, they fight, and it's like, alright, that was like our halfway battle where the villain always escapes the first fight, and then they have to beat him at the end, and then they beat him, and then they become big, and then they just, they just beat him again. So that's what they needed in this, to just have like a middle fight in the movie. Even if they weren't, if they hadn't, morphed, it still would have been cool to have an action sequence in there, but the main credit sequence, of course, teases Tommy Oliver, which is cool. I like the fact that they had a jacket that was both green and white, because it was a green jacket, naturally, of course. Tommy ends up being the Green Ranger first, and then he is given the ability to become the White Ranger by Zordon. I'm pretty curious how they're going to do that, because I don't remember how it played out in the original series. I thought that, from what I remember in the original series, it was that they, like, destroyed the crystal. Like, it basically, when he turned good, it was like, alright, you only have a certain amount of time where you can be a Power Ranger now, because it was basically, he was being given the power by Rita because he was a villain. And then once he got control of it himself, it was like, alright, well, F you. And so it was like every time he used it, he had, less and less time as a Ranger. And then Alpha 5 and Zordon, like, just made him a suit. And it was just like, alright, poof, you got a suit now. And I don't remember them, like, making a crystal or finding a new crystal, but that was a super long time ago, so they probably just made one or found one. So I am curious how they're going to do that, if they're going to find a crystal or convert the power of the green crystal into a different one. They do mention the fact that, the Zeo crystals and stuff like that, they kind of combine those in this movie, so that's a big thing too. Excuse me. So it just makes me wonder how they're going to kind of play around with that. Like, maybe technically he'll get a Zeo crystal, and it'll be like a white Zeo crystal, and that's how he ends up doing that. And maybe that's how he'll have a different costume, because that was the biggest thing for me personally. That's why Tommy was always my favorite, was because I was like, the White Ranger outfit I always thought looked the coolest out of all the outfits, just like the Green Ranger outfit. He had the two coolest outfits, because they were so unique compared to everybody else's. Like, his Green Ranger outfit, he has like a whole emblem. It was basically like when the Rangers go into like their super mode and they get like the the chest plates and all that stuff. That was like permanent for him. And then when he became the White Ranger, it was still permanent. He still had the cool giant chest piece. I always thought he had the coolest mask too. Plus his weapon was definitely, he had the coolest weapons for sure. So everything he got was like better than everybody else's. And so it's like, it's hard for him not to be everybody's favorite when it's like, these guys look the same. That's lame. Like, this dude has like a talking dragon sword, and he can like play the flute and get a giant dragon sword. So he went from a dragon sword to, or I guess it's not a dragon sword, but he had the tiger sword. And plus he had a white tiger. That's always been like my favorite animal on the planet. So that was another thing. Like, he had a lot of things going for him as like the coolest looking Ranger and the coolest character. So I am curious how they're going to do that. But they had, a green jacket. It looked like it had like a white lotus symbol or something on it like that. So it was green. And then, of course, a little bit of white in there as well. So it's like, alright, that's a cool way to do that. Naturally, there'd be no reason for this. That would be insane to do it so early. But, of course, they don't end up casting an actor, because that just doesn't make any sense. So I've never seen a movie do that. Like, hey, unless it's like a cinematic universe thing, like unless it's going to be like a Marvel movie, you're not going to have somebody come in like, here's my 5-second cameo or something, and we aren't making the next movie if they get a sequel, for like another 2 or 3 years. So of course, we don't actually see anyone or anything like that, but it was a nice little tease. We all knew that there was going to be Tommy, and that was the big thing with Rita Repulsa. It was like, okay, so they have all the power crystals, and it seems to be that Rita has a power crystal, in her staff and stuff, and it's a little bit different than the original thing. So what she, is that how we're going to get the Green Ranger and stuff like that? Which, of course, if you see the movie, it's like, oh, snap, she was a Green Ranger. So that was actually really awesome. I love that when they started the movie off. and also it was like super gritty and everybody's dead and dying and stuff, and it's like that was pretty cool. It was just interesting to see. It started really really intense. That's probably as dark as the movie got until like the last, I don't know, that really really dark part where they actually killed Billy, and I was like, didn't see that coming. So that was a great part. That was my favorite part of the whole movie, just because it really shocked me, and I was like, okay, well, I know he lives, but how does this happen? And of course, with it being Power Rangers, I was like, well, with it being, honestly, with it being a movie, the villain gets the answers, and it's like, okay, I'll leave you guys alive and I'm out of here. Even though she could have killed all of them anyway, she still kind of did the same thing. She just did it by like one less person, because it was like she still could have killed all of them if she wanted to, but she was like, nah, I'll just kill one person. It's like, all right, you still took it a step above every other villain I've ever seen in any fictional art, but still, you're the super villain and you still chose to kill like one person and let everybody else get free, basically, because you didn't have them like magically wrapped up anymore. It was just like they're able to escape. So it was still a great sequence. So I really enjoyed that. And Zordon decides to not take his chance to actually come back to life. And I was like, that's actually really cool. That was like a whole different element compared to the original series or any other series I've seen, where we have our ranger team, and then the leader, who may or may not, typically is always some mystical person who's done this or done that. It's always something. It's rarely just a normal mentor. It's always something to it. The most normal mentor I can honestly think of would probably be Tommy, and of course he was a former ranger, so it's like even that is like, there's always something extra whenever there's a mentor. So I thought that was a great moment, and he allows for Billy to come back to life, which is great because he was the best character in the movie. But that was really cool. I love that sequence. I love the sequence where they actually fight Rita Repulsa. I thought, honestly, that fight sequence I thought was cooler than a lot of what they did at the end, because it was just a lot of CG with them running around in the Zords, which was cool. I did like getting to see the Zords. We also see the Zords separated, which was actually really really good, because you never see that in the TV shows. It was always and that's mostly a thing with the fact that it was basically people in rubber suits. It's like, all right, well, we get our little close-ups of our little, our little toys and stuff when they show them like coming out of the mountains and everything. Those are just little miniature figures that they're filming from an angle. So of course, they can't do that much with that. They have to make a move, and it's like, all right, that's done. Put it together, get the guy in the suit, and then they fight. So it's like, that's why we don't get that. But with this being all CG, they focus a lot more on the individual Zords, which I thought was cool. And that may be the unfortunate thing, that when they do come together, it's not as epic as I was hoping, because they do this whole fight and they're separated. Also, they don't figure out how to bring the Zords together, and I thought that was a little bit disappointing. It just kind of happened because they were like about to die together, and then things just formed together, and I was like, all right, I mean, I kind of wish they knew how to do that, or I wish they were at least told, and they're like, all right, well, they went through, the whole movie was them training to finally be able to morph into their costumes. Why can that have been like a part of that? Like, hey, once you do that and you get the Zords, not only do you get the Zords, but you can combine the Zords at some point too, but you have to get like to this level to morph, and then this level to control the Zords, and then this level up here to combine the Zords. And it was just like never referenced at all in the film, and then it just happened at the end. I was like, I wish it was just referenced to them, so it was like, we gotta try this, something like that, or then they all feel like they're gonna die, and that's why they have like a mental link. I don't know, because they did a lot of like, you guys have to think the same and only think of each other to morph for the first time. So I feel like they could have at least put some little bit of dialogue in there where they knew that it was a Megazord, or that they could make the Megazord, and then that's how it happens. But it was just like they all fell into the pit and then they just morphed together. It's like we don't see it. I don't think they had an idea for how to logically make all the things change into the Megazord. And I was like, we just see the characters screaming, and then they come up as the Megazord. But like I said, as far as that fight, once it becomes the Megazord, it was like 2.5 seconds, and I was like, I wish that lasted way longer, because they do like a cool punch. I mean, honestly, the punch that's shown in the trailer was what, like maybe 8% of the actual battle. And it's like, that's a lot for that battle. And so we get the punch. We do get a cool kick. We do get to see them use blades, which I thought was pretty sweet. And I certainly enjoyed that, using the blades of the wing. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And I could tell that as soon as I saw it. I don't know how Jason knew that, because the first thing they said was, do we have any other weapons? And then nobody said anything, and then after like a kick or another punch, Jason's like, lift the arms, we have swords. And I was like, how did you figure that out? Like, someone just asked that question and nobody had the answer, and then he was like, we got swords. And I was like, okay, I just want to see him, so it's just like, it's the end of the movie anyway, forget it. But thought that was a little weird. And of course the way they ended, where it's just like the suplex thing, I was like, oh man, I kind of was hoping for like just at least a couple more hits, like some sort of cool action sequence. And it was fairly slow paced, and I was just like, all right, well, all the really epic, fast paced stuff was when they were separated, and then as soon as they came together, we got like maybe, I don't know, I don't think they even did a total of 10 hits during the actual Megazord sequence. I think it was like maybe 7 or 8 hits total, and then it was over, and then they stabbed Goldar, and they went, and that was pretty much it. I do wish that they were all together inside the Megazord. I think that would have been cool, of course, like the old series. I also think it would have just looked better, because it did look a little weird, because you could actually see them. It's like, here's one person on the shoulder, here's the other shoulder, and then you got like Zack and Billy just like way down as the legs, and I was like, it's cool if they were like all in the chest, even if they were separated. If there was like 3 here and then like 2, I guess like at the nipples, I don't know. But like if they were all in the top half, I'd be like, at least that looks kind of cool. But it was seriously like, here's one person like at the shoulder blade and stuff. It was very Voltron like, where they were actually separated in the different parts, and that's kind of how they had it. But it just looked weirder because you could see them sticking out as like these little clear bubbles. It's like, oh, there's the person. So because of that, it made it even weirder that they weren't together. It's like we can still see them when we look at the Megazord. You still see where every individual person is, because it's like a clear little bubble. And I was like, that just makes it look even weirder that they aren't together, because we can still see them individually, like in the different parts. So I was like, I wish they were together, or if they were like completely covered up and we couldn't even see where they were exactly, it wouldn't look as weird. But that's my biggest gripe on that. I'm very curious, especially if we get a sequel, what in the world are they going to do with a Dragon Zord? Like, how in the world is that going to play out? And if they do the entire Tommy Oliver thing, not only does he have the Dragon Zord as the Green Ranger, but then we go into him being the White Ranger and getting, the White Tiger and all that stuff. So it's like, how in the world is that crap going to play out? And how are they going to make that look with, this version of the Megazord, that sort of thing, when they combine together, which there were so many things that didn't show up in this movie. I'm curious what they would do with the sequel, because we barely see them use weapons, because we see, Jason actually uses the sword, which he actually gives back to Zordon, which I thought was interesting. I was like, which even at the time, we could just count that as a deleted scene. But when he first got into the fight and he just formed the blade, I was like, how in the world did he know how to do that? And we've never seen him. I mean, they just morphed, so of course we've never seen him do that. So I was like, well, how in the world did he know that? And then when he goes to Zordon at the end and he's like, here, you can have this back, and it's basically, it morphs with him when he, actually changes. But it's just a sword that he holds on to when he's not in costume. So I was like, okay, that changes up the dynamic of the weapons. It's a simple way to make it where the weapons are physical weapons. It doesn't form from the suit. But I thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, so he borrowed it from Zordon as the former, Red Ranger. And like I said, that we can easily count as just a deleted scene where he's like, hey, you should take this as leader. This was the weapon that I used that helped me in battle the most or whatever. And boom, he's got a cool sword. And that was cool. It was cool to see him use that, which, we saw for a glimpse. We really saw them fight for a glimpse, honestly. The part where they're on the little mountainside, and then boom, Zords after that. And I was like, man, I really wish we got to see them fight in costume more. We don't even see them in full costume that often when you think about it. As soon as that first visor came up, everybody else's visors came straight up, except for when Jason went to save his dad. All visors were just straight up, and it was just all actors the whole way through. And I guess I get that. It's a little different from the Mighty Morphin show, where it's hey, this is the actual actors, which as a kid I never knew that it was Japanese footage anyway. But it's hey, there were some scenes where they had the actual American actors in the costume. So I was like, okay, there's that person. And they didn't need that for the movie. We knew who was in the costume, but they still had the visors up the entire way through. So it was when they first morphed, when Billy first did it by accident, and when they were in like that first fight sequence with the putties, those are the only times where it was like full Power Rangers. They had the the visors down and everything, and I think it was Kimberly first, I believe. Her visor came up, and then every other person's visor was just like boom, all actors the whole way through, and they were all in the suits. So it's just like, man, why couldn't they just have the visors down? I mean, it's the last like 30 minutes of the movie. I mean, we could go without seeing their faces, and then have like the ending of the film where they're out of costume and stuff. So it's like I kind of wish we got to see them with the visors down a little bit. It didn't bug me too much during the movie. It was kind of an after the fact thing where I was like, man, I didn't notice that too much. And I watched some other reviews and they mentioned, I was like, now that I think about it, that does bug me a little bit that we didn't get to see it. It was like, full costume the whole way through. So I wish we got to see that a little bit more. Like I said, that's not that big of a deal. That didn't even, come to me during the film. It was definitely just how little we got to see the Rangers, and that was the big thing, just waiting until that ending, and then the middle with all the drama. It was just like, God, there's so much drama in here. It's just a stop. It just changes so much, and that's like my biggest complaint with it. First part of the movie, loved it. I thought it was hilarious. The way the characters meet, I thought was good. Billy and Jason, how they meet was absolutely amazing with the bully, who's not Bulk or Skull, which I was really surprised by. They actually say the character's name, and he's just like some random dude. But Jason slapping him was like one of the funniest things I'd seen. Like, that was hilarious. Which of course they make a callback to that with Rita, where presumably they like backhand her like a pimp straight to the moon. So that's of course where she'll be in the next film. But that was freaking funny in the beginning. He just slapped the crap out of him. It's like, where did that go? You just slapped me. Like, yeah, it's really weird to be slapped in the face. So that was pretty good. I really loved that. And just seeing Billy, like with him and his like other nerdy friends, is like, man, how, like, because he knocked the bully out when the bully tried to headbutt him. So that I thought was really funny. Something that actually came up that I didn't think of during the movie either is there's got to be like a scene in there somewhere where Billy gets in trouble because, he took his mom's van and then crashed it in a train, which technically they never explained how they ended up home either. Not that I can remember, but they never actually explained how they ended up being back home. But Billy definitely didn't come home with the van, and they kind of make a point of saying like, oh, this is, like when he's talking out loud to his dad, he's like, I didn't tell mom I took the car, but I'm telling you so it should be all good. And I'm like, okay, I would assume he's saying that because that's the only car that they have. And when they drive past it the next day, it's like, okay, well, let's just keep going. And then it gets into all the Power Ranger stuff, so I forgot. But I'm like, if that's the van, they're looking at the license plate. Like, that's what I thought the cop was doing. Like, he was looking at the license plate and writing it down. I'm like, that never came out. I would assume, hopefully, there's some sort of deleted scene, and it would make a lot of sense to throw it in. I don't see how it would really fit too well. But I was like, that never came up again, and you would definitely be in trouble for that. Like, that doesn't just go away. Like, it should have really, honestly, it could have been in there perfectly. Like, as soon as he woke up, if his mom was like, where's the van? Because it's not here. It would have made a lot of sense, but I was like, that just never came up. Like I said, during the movie, it was all Power Ranger stuff, so I wasn't thinking about the stupid van, especially because it was like the first 15 minutes and all that stuff happened. So, of course, I forgot about that real fast because it was like, hey, here's Zordon and the horror version of the Alpha 5, which was a pretty cool intro. And they're talking about killing them. They seriously said kill a bunch during that scene. But, I really loved the opening, and then the drama came in, and it just felt like a little bit too much. And then it picked up a bit towards the end. I just felt like it wasn't the most epic ending sequence, and probably because I would prefer to see a lot more hand-to-hand combat than Zord combat. As cool as it was to see the Zords, and they had like training when she, I think it was like her and Jason, and then like jump on Goldar. Those were my favorite parts. I was like, that's actually kind of cool. Like, they literally like run up the giant monster in the individual Zords rather than just punching it or kicking it in the Mega Zord. And I was like, that's kind of cool. We don't see those tactics very often. Last time I remember seeing that was like the first Power Rangers movie before they combined. So it's that sort of thing that you just don't see that often as a fan of Power Rangers. You don't see the the smaller versions of the Zords used individually like that. So it was pretty cool. But ultimately, I hope the film gets a sequel. I do want them to really improve on what they did, and I think with this being the origin, we get all the drama stuff out of the way. Next film should be totally fine. They'll be able to stick to what was in the beginning, which I really love because it was funny to me and the characters I thought were good. And I was like, that's simple. That's Power Rangers. And then it was like, but here's the reboot section, and it was all the drama stuff, and it just didn't combine together to me. So I hope they're able to fix that if we do get a sequel, and I really want a sequel. Plus, I want to see how they do the action a lot better compared to this one, because the training segment was good, and that's actually where most of the hand-to-hand stuff was. Like, they were doing flips and kicks and stuff, and I was like, that's really sweet. And we saw a little bit of it when they were in the water, and they were like kind of floating around and, you know, launching each other through the water. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then they do, you know, we get a couple of kicks, like when we actually get to see the characters without them being, you know, muddled up by water, or it's not just a training montage. And it's like, Billy did that, like, triple kick. There are a couple of flips and, you know, some shoulders thrown back. Or elbows, not shoulders. But I was like, alright, that was pretty fast. But ultimately, I had a good time with it. I wouldn't, personally, I'm not going to see this movie again until it's, like, free. But I do hope we get a sequel, because the stuff that I liked, I really liked. I liked Rita Repulsa as super creepy and almost like a horror villain in the beginning. Love the fight scene with her. That was my favorite fight scene in the whole movie, where she like beats them up and she's like flipping and spinning, and she's like spinning so hard it's like shock waves from her staff. I was like, this is a cool fight sequence, which led to the death of Billy for a minute. So all of that was great to me. But we'd love to know what you guys thought about this film, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. Does this work for you as the Power Rangers reboot? Do you want a sequel? Do you not want a sequel? For me personally, like I said, I'm kind of in the middle in the movie. Loved the beginning, and then after that I just felt it kind of dragged. Like the first half or first maybe 40 minutes, really loved it. Then the drama came in. Some good stuff in there. Rita Repulsa's fight, amazing. Death of Billy, really great. Ending 30 minutes with the fight, and I love Krispy Kreme. But, you know, ending Megazords and Zords and stuff, pretty cool. Prefer hand-to-hand combat. That's just a personal thing. Love martial arts. Didn't get nearly enough. I felt like Iron Fist thing was happening. Like, I'm not getting enough actual martial arts here. But we'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. And, of course, thanks for watching.